والذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
And good morning, Radio Bellady listeners. It's been a long time since I've been on the air with you. And this is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show today, and I'm glad that you tuned in. Today we're going to be discussing supplemental education and after-school programs and their impact on students and communities. And I hope that you would join the conversation with us too. You can join online. I'll be sharing the feed on Facebook and Twitter. You can use the hashtag Radio Bellady to ask your questions for us, or if you have any stories to tell us about your after-school experience or your experience with supplemental education, such as tutoring. So we would like to hear your opinion about their impact and about what makes it great or what makes it not so great. With me today is Mr. Hussein Hachem. He is the co-founder and CEO of Educaremi Michigan Student Services. The Educare serves a variety of students in Peter 12 and as well as college in the Dearborn area, and he has been instrumental in helping many students succeed. So we're going to be talking to him about the stories that he has about student success and why he decided to take this route in his life. Hussein is an accomplished professional. He earned his bachelor's from Wayne State University in emphasis in biochemistry and chemical biology. And he was a great tutor at the time, and he decided to do that for a living. So, Hussein, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Adel, for inviting me to be on your show.
Thanks. If you can give us, I didn't give you all of the credit, and obviously you're doing far more than just operating on a student services company, but if you can give us a little bit more about yourself, I would really appreciate it.
Again, thank you, Adel, for the invite. My name is Hussein Hachem, and as you said, I'm the founder and managing director of Educaremi Student Services. We are an award-winning program, and we are located in Dearborn, Michigan, and we started officially since 2013. As myself, like you said, I have a bachelor in BS in biochemistry and chemical biology from Wayne State University. Before doing that, I go back to the days of Henry Ford Community College, starting as a lead tutor at the learning centers and a training for other tutors. As I moved to Wayne State, I did the same. Also, I was tutoring and training other tutors to do the job. When I graduated from Wayne State, I was doing some tutoring on the side, but looking at the situation at that time, the prices, the availability and the accessibility to tutoring was really hard to common people to attain. So, I said, why not starting something that's affordable to parent and it has, some good quality so people can trust it, but they can afford it at the same time. And this is how we started. Other than Educare, I always am a big advocate for education. We go to a lot of events to basically advocate for different subjects. One of them is supplemental education, and one of them is child care. And other than that, we do a lot of stuff here and there.
So how did you start about the, excuse me, how did you start about the idea? Did you have support from any of the organizations? Obviously, you didn't just get a business loan and said, I'm going to start this company right now.
To be honest, starting the company, we were sitting down, me and one of my friends, and I told them I want to do that. And I was putting some posts on Craigslist and other websites. And he said, why don't you register this company officially in the state of Michigan,
Right.
so you can basically operate on a legal base and you can grow it. So I'm like, you know what? How can we do it? Do I have to go to an accounting? I didn't have any experience in businesses at that time. Do I have to go to an accounting? Do I have to pay big money and stuff? He's like, no, it's going to cost us probably $50 to register it in the state of Michigan. So let's start with that step,
Okay.
and then we'll take it from there. So we did, and that was at my house, and we used my laptop, and we went online. We applied for the company, and we filed it. Starting as a physical location, we didn't have a physical location at that time. The way we used to do it, we used to basically use social media heavily, and I still use social media heavily to get the message out, and it worked.
So you would tutor at the child's house or,
Either at the
or libraries?
yeah, either
Okay.
any nearby library or at the child house at that time. During that summer of 2013, I was part of an organization in Dearborn, the Lebanese American Heart Club,
Right.
and I wanted to do some summer programs. And I, come up to the founder at that time, Ali Jawad. I'm like, can I use the hall so I can do that program? And Ali is a big supporter of education, so without a doubt, he said, yes, Sam, please go ahead and use it.
Okay.
So I used it for that summer. We ran a very good summer program. People saw the success and the difference we made in the lives of their kids. So they asked us, what's your physical location? And how you're gonna move? We want to register our kids for your fall programs, for
Right.
after school programs. So that was some stress at that time.
Yeah.
But we since fall 2014, we moved to basically be at the Dearborn Atrium Center in West Dearborn,
Okay.
and we've been operating there since then, and it's been growing, alhamdulillah.
That's great. So going back to the students and seeing, you've been kind of on hands seeing students struggle either in college or in high school, and sometimes it gets really frustrating for
Sure.
them.
Sure.
And I see that with my own son when I tutor him. I'm very short-tempered, so
Yes.
sometimes I get frustrated myself, and I feel really bad. But we have students now who go to school obviously on 7 hours, 8 hours of schooling, and then you expect them to go to an after-school program, stay there for 2-3 hours. How do you manage the students'
Yes.
stress, I guess, or get them still engaged and active,
And
although
education.
they've been kind of on motor for
Yes.
the last 7 hours, 6 hours.
Just to make you feel better about you not having, you are short temper,
Yeah.
30% of the students that comes to Educare, their parents are educators, like their mom is a teacher or their dad is a teacher or there's some sort of,
Right.
have to be in the field. So you're good, Adel. It's always hard working with your own kids because you don't have I don't want to say the will, but like you said, it's short temper whenever it's your kids and you're coming back from work and all of the stress, so, it is. But going back to your question, the student has to do their homework regardless if they come
Right.
to an after-school program or if they don't come to an after-school program. Many of the situations we have, not all of them, but at least 40% of the situations we have, particularly at Educare, parents don't speak the language very fluently. So they're not able to help their kids
Right.
to the full
Mhm.
extent with their homework. So that's why it's easier for the kid to come to a center where they can help them very easily with their homework and get it done even on a shorter time. So instead of the kid taking 3 or 4 hours at home to finish his homework or her homework, when they come to Educare, they'll be able to finish it in less time, like an hour or an hour and a half, and leave and have fun for the rest of the day.
And the expectations that I believe the student usually has, or the child, is with the parent, this person is my father.
Yes.
Like,
They can take advantage.
yeah.
Especially
or,
mom. Play on the emotional part.
Yes. So it's not, once they come to a dedicated tutor or to a class, they already have the expectations. I'm here to study. I'm not here to do anything else.
They know, that's it. When you're there, there is no running away from it.
Right.
You're at the center right there. You are in a mentality that I need to study, I need to finish my stuff so I can leave. Because if you don't leave, you don't finish your stuff, you're not going to be able to leave as early as you want to.
So obviously, we welcome any listeners, any questions about Hussein's business or the area that we're talking about today in supplemental education. Tell us your story about your experience, or tell us why you're sending your kids to an after-school program or to a weekend program or a support program for them to grow and be successful. Hussein, once a student gets enrolled in such a program, I see all educator posts most of the time about student success stories and how they were struggling at a time and they did very well. Can you tell us, just give us a little bit about the secret formula that you put in there for the students to improve and do well? Because I'm really looking at the summertime and I'm having a hard time really putting my son in.
Usually for our summer programs, we book the summer programs by the end of May. And
Right.
Our summer program doesn't start until the beginning of July. So our summer programs are very successful. In terms of the secret formula, there is no secret formula. Basically, it's our personal relation with the kids. We go beyond tutoring. We go beyond this hour or the 2 hours that you spend at the center. We go beyond that. We go to their houses. We like to hear their stories. We like to hear what they're struggling with. So this is why we were able to connect with them on a personal level and see exactly what's bothering them. And when you are able to do so, you'll be able they will listen to you, they will trust you. And when they trust you and they listen to you, this is when you're going to be able to start making changes in their life. And we've been able to make changes in their life to the positive. And it's not just about, we don't only have kids who, people tend to say, okay, tutoring is only for kids who are failing, which is, I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Right.
There is kids, they're not failing, but they want to improve their grades, and there is kids who are excellent students, but they want to be in advanced programs like the CAD program or the honors classes. So, we help a variety of kids. And the help basically, like I said, so there's 3 categories. There's kids who are struggling and they're not passing their classes, so we help them with it, and they pass their classes. There's kids who are passing, but they don't have a good grade. So we work with them on improving their grades, and there's kids who basically looking to get into an advanced program, and we work with them so they can basically pass the exam, the entrance exam, and they will be able to join the program too. So the secret, no secret, it's just a personal relation and go on, beyond just 1 hour of tutoring.
I was going to ask you, the idea of tutoring student has been there for a long time. What's the reanimation and what sets you apart from
I think the personal relation with students and being not just a tutor but also a mentor, because most of the staff who tutors the kids are basically students themselves, and they're struggling with, they're going through the same experience still in college, or they're recently graduate, so they know what's the struggles, and they are a role model for those kids. They talk to them as friends, basically, talking about their personal experience, being able to balance between, doing the homework and the stuff that you need to do for your classes, and at the same time work. So the student has no excuse now to say, well, I don't have time, when they see another student that's tutoring and still have to go and take classes and study at the same time.
You said tutoring is usually now for the students who are struggling or who are failing, and that's a very, very important point.
We said that's one part of it, and we said 2 other parts who are not struggling, who are passing, and then whoever want to advance, just to give them fairness of the doubt.
And the preparing for standardized exams is another huge toll on students.
True.
But even on the ones who are really hardworking and really outstanding, they find it sometimes very hard.
You're right.
So how do you prepare students, I guess, for these kind of exams? And we're going to take that question right after we take a commercial break, and we will be back with Radio Melody. We're talking today about supplemental education and after-school support. We're going to be speaking about even the news about cutting to education from federal funds and how's that going to impact our students. So we will take a commercial break, and we will be back. If you would like to participate, the number is 248-557-3300, or use the hashtag Radio Melody on Facebook and Twitter.
There's a cool vibe in Detroit these days, the same vibe that's at Marygrove College. We've got great career-oriented degrees that will put you on the path to your future, on campus and online. Why not explore Marygrove? You could start college this spring. Go to marygrove.edu or call 313-927-1240 to get more information. International students pay the same rate as domestic students, and let us empower you.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
Life for Relief and Development is a nonprofit charity that has been providing humanitarian aid and development to people and communities regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background for over 22 years. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life rushes to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Life also has development projects to provide medical relief, water purification, educational programs, relief for orphans, and much more. Your help and support can greatly improve these efforts. All donations are tax deductible. For more information, please visit our website at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493. That's lifeusa.org, 248-424-7493.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
A car accident can change your life in an instant. As a result of a car accident, you may become unemployed. As a result of a car accident, you may need a lot of medical treatment. People think that insurance companies are on their side. Why? Because they're giving them 1 or 2 benefits. Are they giving them all the benefits they deserve? How would one know unless you consult with an attorney? Call the law offices of Jumana Kiruz at 248-557-3645. 248-557-3645.
Welcome to the United States. Please proceed to the passport control.
ماذا يقول؟ إلى أين أذهب؟ ماذا علي أن أفعل؟ لو سمحت، هل تساعدني؟ ماذا قال هذا الرجل في الإعلان؟
ألا تعرف الإنجليزية؟
أعرف، ولكن أساسيات فقط.
عليك بتعلم اللغة.
ولكن أين؟ يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام، أساتذة متخصصون، منهج متميز، يمكنك التسجيل طوال العام. لرسوم التسجيل ومواعيد الفصول الدراسية عليك الاتصال بالهاتف رقم
586-797-6960 586-797-6960.
تحدث اللغة وتعلم نمط الحياة مع يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام. تعلم، تحدث وأكثر.
And welcome back, Radio Melody listeners. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show. We're talking today about supplemental education after-school programs and their impact on communities and students. I have my guest today, Hussein Hachem. He is the founder and managing director of Educaremi Student Services in Dearborn, and he was gracious enough on a short notice to join us today. And we're broadcasting live on Facebook, on his Facebook page, and I share that on the radio's page as well as my own personal page. So if you search U.S. Arab Radio, you should be finding it online. We're welcoming your calls, your questions, and at the hashtag Radio Melody, or you can call in the studio, 248-557-3300. Before we went on the break, saying we were just talking about, the support programs are not only for students who are struggling,
Yes.
but rather for the people, even for the people who are doing really well, but they want to either get to a higher level or they want to get, really good, impressive, standardized exams.
Yes.
How do you see, especially the students who are doing well, perform on standardized exams prior to getting extra support and after they do receive the support?
Just one point in terms of standardized tests. You can be a 4.0 or 4.2 student if the school allow you to go above the 4.0
Right.
scale, but you can at the same time not perform too well in a standardized test. So standardized test is not about being smart, it's about being able to take a standardized test. Not everyone is the same, and you cannot tell a fish to go and drive a car.
Right.
So this why I'm not a big fan of standardized test, because not everyone think the same, not everyone work the same, and not every brain function the same way.
But unfortunately, it's
But
being
unfortunately,
taken, it's being taken as a standard. So.
until we can change this, kids have to go through a lot of testing actually, and this is one thing that we've been trying to work on and push through to the state and even through the nation, that to basically limit and the amount of testing that's happening at
Right.
the school. It's taken a lot of time from the teaching time,
From instruction time, right?
instruction time, and I mean it's killing the student at the
Right.
same time. It's limiting them. It's like a scale. Every time there is a standardized test, sometimes you have to spend some time with those students, talking to them that this is not how we judge you. This is not you. You know what I mean? Even if you perform bad, but you are still a good student. So in regards to standardized test, preparing student, we take it very seriously. There is two programs we work on working with students on. There is NWEA testing, and we work on the SAT now for the high school students. We still work on the ACT, but not too many students are taking it now since the state has moved to the SAT
program,
as the
right.
official test. So we have classes for those testing, and for every test date we usually have a class where we basically we go over the test, an overview of it, what's the subject that make up the test, what's the breakdown of time and everything that you need to worry about. Then we go for every part of the test in details, and we do a review for it, and then we do practices, and we always do assessments. And at the end of the program, for example, for the SAT test, we give them a full SAT test so they can prepare. Same timing, same break, same everything, same rules even, so they can get ready for the test.
Okay.
And actually, just so you could, because you're speaking about that
Sure.
point, we just got yesterday the results for the SAT.
Okay.
And we were calling students and getting results from them, because we have their PSAT scores, we have their scores when they took the test with Educaremi, and then yesterday we were calling because the results were released 2 days ago, to get the
official
scores,
test, right.
yeah, the scores from the student, and I can report that every student that came to Educaremi was able to improve on his on the SAT or her SAT test.
Nice.
So that I want to congratulate all our students. Good job, keep it up,
Congratulations.
and congrats to the staff too who worked with them. So that was a big success for us.
Now, they're not only working, usually support programs emphasize more on the content of the exam or on the style on the exam and how well you kind of time manage yourself during the...
We work on not just content. We go beyond content because, like we said, you can be a 4.0 student, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to perform
You're not going to be
well.
a good tester, right?
Yeah, you're not a good tester. So we work on time management, study skills. Even we tell them, like, what's, for example, for the reading part, we tell them, what's the order they should be doing passages, and how much time they should be spending on each question. Like, we divide it for them. Like,
Right.
for example, for math section, you should be spending, for example, 35 seconds on each question, for example. If you don't know it, please skip it and go to the next question, and at the end, if you have some time, go ahead and do so. Even, the SAT testing, for example, it used to be like if you guess and you make a mistake, you lose a point. But in the new testing, you don't lose any points. So we tell them to make an educated guess at the end of the time, not to leave anything blank.
Right.
Because you're not going to lose anything, regardless, of what's the answer. So this is
At least you will have it 25% chance of
Exactly.
making that answer,
Exactly.
right?
You know,
Yeah.
at least you have a chance of you're gonna give an
Or
extra
you
point.
do the process of
Yeah,
elimination.
and each question that's right, it really like improves your score by too many points. That it affects you. And when we look at the admission and scholarship graph, a couple points on your SAT test make a difference in thousands of dollars in terms of scholarship amount.
Right.
So this is what we tell the students all the time. Don't say I don't need this question or I don't need that point, because every point does make a difference, especially on your SAT test.
So usually, when do students start preparing for, especially the high school, for the SAT or
They
ACT?
should be starting as early as 10th grade. Anyone who waits for 11th grade, it's too hard for them to achieve their goal score. I know, our high schools, they start at 9th grade given the PSAT. And this is when this 9th grade, this is when you should basically start talking to your kids about the SAT, get them familiar with it, and even during the summer have them take some sort of a practice exam, or buy them a book where they can just start reading about the test, what do they expect, what subjects are being tested, and what the test does cover in terms of material. But in 10th grade, they should be starting studying, more often for the test. And then when you get to 11th grade, you're going to take it regardless, because the school makes you take it. So you should be ready. By 11th grade, you should be ready, because usually schools administrate the test on April.
So you mentioned also another exam that usually public schools and
NWEA.
yeah.
That's for younger kids, elementary and middle school.
Right. So these students, they take these exams, and then usually the scores are given probably immediately or the next day.
Yeah.
So they're even much better than the state testing, which
True.
takes
at least
a year.
3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, until you get your scores back, and that's not optimal.
I know.
But why students should care about this? I want to make sure that parents know that this test is as important for elementary students as the ACT.
I mean, elementary and middle school students, they go and take their NWA testing, and the way how the test is administrated is basically when you start school, you take, there is, I believe, 3 to 4 times that the student take the test, and there is graphs, and they monitor your score to see if there were any progress, and they go by your grade. And each grade, they have a certain expectation for it, like a certain score bar you have to meet. And if your kid doesn't meet that score bar, the school will put them, at notice that they need to meet this bar, so they can see if he is or she is at a certain reading level or at a certain math level. So they look at it very seriously, and they take it very seriously, and parents should look at it, and they should pay attention to it, and they should prepare their student to it too.
So just to clarify on that exam, it's being administrated by the Northwest Evaluation Association, and this exam is given twice a year, right? Is it twice or once a year?
At least 3 times a year.
3 times a year.
If we're talking NWA, yeah.
Right.
It's 3 times a year.
Now, they still have to also take the M-STEP.
Yes.
For those who are in public and charter schools.
Yes.
And this one is administrated by the state.
Yep.
And that's too many testing. A lot of people are saying that.
Like we said in the beginning,
and they're
too many testing.
They're kind of the same style test, and I don't know why, until this point, we're still asking students to take these many exams. I understand the value of NWEA, and I would hope that the state would switch to that testing, and then you would eliminate one of the major tests for the students, as you said earlier, that will kind of increase the instruction time and give students more ample time to study rather than being tested twice or 3 times on the same thing.
So the way how they do it, basically, Adel, they do testing at the beginning of the year, and mid-year, and then at the end of the year. So they're trying to see the progress of student, if they did benefit. It gives them some kind of idea if the student did benefit from, for example, taking their the reading class, or studying with the teacher. But at the same time, like we said, too much of something sometimes hurts, even if it's a good thing. So I believe if we just use this platform as a way to get an idea if the student is actually getting, for example, the material and benefiting, and his reading or her reading level are getting better. It's good without having to hold the student, responsible, for example, or holding them back because of that score, or for example, having them take summer school because of that score. Make it like a, for example, like a way where you can see what's the progress of the student, but don't, for example, have any academic consequences because of that score. That's just one my idea I wanted to put there.
We have a phone call that we'd like to take. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Ability.
Thank you, Mr. Adel Mozip. Good morning to you.
أهلا مستر نجيب. أهلا الحمد لله.
شكرا أهلا بيك thank you بضيفك مستر حسين هاشم.
Thank you حبيبي.
أهلا وسهلا. سؤالي هون my question, first of all I want to thank you very much for your show, Mr. Adel Mozip, and I want to thank your effort to bring Mr. Hashim here, and thank you for the service for the community. My question, I will divide it in two, and they are connected to each other. You have an education they call supplement education. My question is this program reach out or extend to the student who they have very need for a special education due to underdevelopment or mental diseases? And the second part of the question is your program directed our youth and give them some advice about a major problem facing our community, which is fighting the drugs. We have a lot of victims and a lot of students, a lot of our kids, they are a victim of drugs. So I will hear your answer, and thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much.
Actually, very good questions, to be honest with you. Amazing.
Gary always has amazing questions.
Thank you for calling, Jerry, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. I want to go one by one to your question, and really there are two big topics that are now, everyone is talking about.
Right, yeah.
Basically, I don't want to say special needs student, I want to say special challenge student. This is how we like to, it's a special challenge. We do to some extent work with those students. We have some autistic kids, some dyslexic kids that we work with, but we're not specialized in that field.
Okay.
We've seen a lot of success within our center in the cases that we took, and we were able to help those kids gain back their confidence, because it's all about the confidence in those kids. They've been, to be honest, negatively putting down by sometimes their teacher. And sometimes I understand it because they have a lot of students in the class where they cannot give all the attention a student needs, but it's not an excuse, to be honest with you.
Right.
One case I want to talk about it, we have a kid that suffer autism, and he came to us. He was below level of his class. And we worked with him for the year. And just last week, we heard from his teacher that now he places second in his class in reading.
Wow.
So that was a big success. And he's a very hard-working student.
Right.
And we put our heart in it, to be honest with you, when we work with those kids, because it's not, now when you work with those challenge kids, it's not about any more tutoring or a business or money or anything. It's about a person that you want to make sure you're giving them the confidence in themselves, that they can do it, and they will be able to do it with some help. Because they're not different from any other, to be honest with you.
And sometimes they're even special.
Exactly.
And others, and they're talented, and that only will show if they're given that confidence, and if they're being encouraged to do well.
To be honest, any student that you give them the help they need, you give them the trust they need, you help them gain their self-confidence, their self-esteem, you'll see wonders, to be honest with you. This is why we need to work a lot with our kids. I wanna go from there to his next question, which is about working with youth and fighting drugs and those social epidemics, man. I mean, as a company, as I said before, we don't only work with tutoring, we go above that and we work on mentoring with kids. And when I say we sit down and we listen to their personal stories and we listen to everything they want to talk to us about it, we want to make sure that this student doesn't fall between the cracks of our community. And this is very important. This is some serious stuff here. And this is why we go to a lot of high schools and we talk to students and we do seminars. And we try to be as much as open as possible with them. And we've been successful to some extent. And even in some cases, some students, some of their parents, they call us and they say, can you please talk to my son or to my daughter in regard to that specific subject or to that. And that's a good thing, because at least the kids know they have someone that they can trust, they can open up to, and they can talk to them about anything in their life that they want to talk about. We're not a psychology clinic, so we don't basically make recommendations, mental recommendations, but we do, it's a sensitive topic, to be honest with you, Adel. We do to some extent talk to the student, and if we see that the case is very serious, that we need to refer it to someone, we do. But as far as any more actions, our actions were limited to doing seminars, talking to students, and open up to them and mentor them on following the right path and the right direction, and not going to the other direction.
And to answer, also kind of touch a little bit on the drug issue, it has to be a community effort. Everybody has to put their weight in, and they really, there has to be a lot of work and awareness about the issue, and making sure that our students are not falling into that. And
since you mentioned the community, I'm sorry for...
Yeah, go ahead.
I've seen in the past year so many organizations and so many groups, they started working on this subject, especially drugs. I hope, and I want to talk with good intentions, that we are working for the cause and not the grant.
Right.
Because we are talking about the future of a kid, we are talking about a human being, and we are talking about the future of our community and our country. If these generations fell to drugs, we have no future.
Right.
If our kids fell to drugs, we have no future. So please, I beg you, don't go and work in this field if you only going for the grant and for the money.
Right.
We need to basically work for the cause. And we need to make sure when we are doing this kind of programs, especially programs that deal with substance abuse, with drugs, you need to be in it for the right cause. Because the future of our country is in your hands.
Very sensitive subject. It is, and it's an epidemic that we really need to face as a community. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we're back, we have one question here through our Facebook page about how to find out about NWEA scores. So we'll ask you about that, Hussein.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about federal funding and the impact that it's going to have in the next few years or so. So we'll take a commercial break. We'll be back.
It's never too early to get your child on the right track. From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center in Troy works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. The highly qualified and experienced staff use a variety of programs that can help nurture important personality traits like responsibility, independence, problem solving, motivation, and respect. They also have educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants, toddlers, transitional toddlers, and pre-K to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., can provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, and can also arrange for after-school pickup. Dreamy Children's Center in Troy is located at 37373 DeQuinder, just above 16 Mile Road, and can be found on Facebook at Dreamy Children's Center. Ask about the free preschool program. Call today, 248-680-9170, 248-680-9170.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
Welcome to the United States. Please proceed to the passport control.
ماذا يقول؟ إلى أين أذهب؟ ماذا علي أن أفعل؟ لو سمحت، هل تساعدني؟ ماذا قال هذا الرجل في الإعلان؟
ألا تعرف الإنجليزية؟
أعرف، ولكن أساسيات فقط.
عليك بتعلم اللغة.
ولكن أين؟ يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام، أساتذة متخصصون، منهج متميز، يمكنك التسجيل طوال العام. لرسوم التسجيل ومواعيد الفصول الدراسية عليك الاتصال بالهاتف رقم
586-797-6960 586-797-6960.
تحدث اللغة وتعلم نمط الحياة مع يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام. تعلم، تحدث وأكثر.
أسواق زمزم الواقع على 24065 أورشد لك في مدينة فارمington هيلز ترحب بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. تنزيلات كبيرة على عموم المواد الغذائية في يوم الأربعاء من كل أسبوع. لا تنسوا فريش كاري اوت، جميع انواع المعجنات، وايضا صواني الكمبو المشكله والصمون الحار. لحوم حلال الجاليه العربيه والاسلاميه، الملحمه باداره قصاب الجاليه المعروف سلوان جربوع. زوروهم على 24065 اورشد لك في مدينه فارمington هاوس، او اتصلوا بهم على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمذاقي عنوان لجميع طلباتكم. اتصلوا على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمعامله الراقية وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
بدأناه معكم وعهدناكم على أن نستمر بمزيد من المتعة والعروض الحصرية على قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام. زي ألوان هي أول وأكبر قناة مسلسلات عربية هندية في أمريكا. أضخم الإنتاجات، مسلسلات حصرية. ومع زي أفلام فأنتم على موعد مع مغامرة جديدة كل يوم لاكتشاف سحر بوليوود. تابعوا حصريا قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام الآن في أمريكا على ديش نتورك وسلينج تي في.
And we are back on Radio Melody, talking today about supplemental education after-school programs and their impact. My guest today is Hussein Hachem. He is the CEO and founder of Educaremi Student Services in Dearborn. Then before the commercial, we just had a quick question about NWEA scores. I believe those scores are being sent home with the student, but if a parent wants to, and she mentioned she has multiple kids at different schools.
Yeah.
How can she find out those scores?
Usually, like when they take the test, the teacher will give them like a paper that the paper shows multiple graphs.
Okay.
And the graph will have multiple bars basically. One bar will be the student score.
Okay.
The other bar will be the median for his class, and then the expectations for his grade level.
Right.
And then she'll see that basically in reading, and then in math, and then in science. So there is 3 graphs, and then each graph, like we said, has different bars. So this is the way how they should interpret, the bars. If his score is below the bar that says expectations, then he's below grade level or she's below grade level in that specific subject. If it's the same or above, then the student is doing good in that subject. And this is usually how how teacher looks at. And like we said before, in the beginning of the year they do it, and then they do it in the mid of the year, and then at the end of the year. And they look at those scores, and they need to go up. If they see them going down, then they put the student under the spot so they can see how they can be able to improve them. Whether through intervention or whether through other programs.
In the first year my son was enrolled at a school, there was actually after-school programs for at least literacy.
Yeah.
But this year there was nothing.
Sure.
And it was very sad that, for me, I could probably afford it and put my son into an after-school program, but I feel really terrible for those parents who don't have the money to put their kids into such programs, and it's getting even worse right now because the after-school enrichment program, which is largely funded by the federal government, and it's called the First Century Community Learning Centers.
Yep.
It's a $1.2 billion program serving about 1.6 million low-income students nationwide. President Donald Trump is proposing eliminating this program, and the administration says there is no demonstrable evidence that these programs improve student performance in schools. So how do you measure I guess, giving an evidence to this that these programs work and they help students succeed.
I remember when the Senate was confirming Secretary Betsy
DeVos.
She was asked specific questions. Did your kids go to public schools? Did your kids receive any student loan? Did you go to a public school, or did you take any student loan, or did you take any after-school program, or any supplemental help? And all of them, her answers were no. And I believe it's the same case for our president, Trump. We're not talking politics right now. We're only talking education.
Right.
When we talk education, politics has no place.
Right.
Because
unfortunately, people have put
exactly.
politics in the way.
So if you have someone that's in the top of the tree for our educational system, and they're not in touch with the public, so
Right.
how do you want them to basically see and feel with the public?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. On the other point, I believe, we don't take grants, I believe. As a company, we do not take grants from the government, but there is other companies, other tutoring companies that do take grants from the government. And there is always those bad apples, right? That only, like we said before, they work for the money and they don't work for the cause.
Right.
And when your sole purpose is working for the money, you will never achieve anything in your life. Let's put it this way. Especially when you work in fields that are beyond the money part, like
Right.
education and other stuff. So I believe there were some bad apples out there that took advantage of the money and they didn't deliver on any results.
On the merits, right.
Yeah, and it happens.
Right.
But I believe there is other companies in the nation that did
Or organizations, right.
or organizations, because I mean whoever receives grants from the government has to be a non-profit or someone
Right.
that's working in the field of daycare or something like that, childcare. So I believe in the nation, no, there is examples of organizations or companies or institutions or centers that did really work and delivered results, but because of the sum of the bad apples out there, it gave the impression of supplemental help doesn't work. So we talked about two parts. We talked about the part of the head of education now is really doesn't have any touch with the public,
Exactly.
and then the other part is basically some bad apples out there.
We have a phone call to take. Welcome to Radio Bellady.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to add to the education system. I want to say some of the students, when they come to the school,
Yes.
they come with the weapon beside the drugs that they have. And these weapons, they threat their other student over there. They threat the teacher. Some of the teachers around here, Metro Detroit, they are afraid of the students. So I hope you talk about the weapon as well in a good punishment to stop this, to discipline this problem, because it's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. They bring weapon, they threaten everybody in the school, and some of these people, it's like it's in their blood to threaten other.
Right.
So I just want you to be aware of that.
Thank you for raising that issue and for calling in. Hussein, have you heard of such
To
any?
be honest,
I've
never heard of that case. I know there is a law that prohibits anyone to carry guns or bear arms at least to a certain feet around the schools.
Schools, right.
So
That-
I
that
don't
is
believe they are.
federal.
It's a federal law. So I don't believe they are able to basically bring in the gun to the school. But if there is some cases where some students are bringing guns into the school, I'm not aware of those cases. But if any happens, the teachers should report to the police, and there should be something done about it, because it gets in the way of education, and you cannot do that.
Obviously, and then when the students usually have a threatening manner to the teacher, that's not an education environment.
I heard about it overseas, but not here.
Well, sometimes in some areas in the country, unfortunately, you have that kind of relationship where actually the students, they are threatening or bullying the teacher, and some video clips have spread and show that kind of behavior, sadly, and it's to a point where I don't know where are we leaving our teachers. The sad part about it is that we're there's a heavy burden on them, and a lot of teachers
a lot of cuts too.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the only profession where if you work, there is no ability. I don't want to basically make teachers lose hope, or anyone who want to pursue education or teaching degree to reconsider, but if you are in it, again, for the right cause, you love doing it regardless of what's the consequences or what are the things that are available to you. But looking at the state level and the national level, every time I hear there's cuts and cuts and cuts in teachers' salaries and benefits and other things. I believe we need to start advocating for teachers on a more serious note, because they are the ones dealing with our kids, and they are the ones that's basically given the education to our kids. And I remember our Prophet saying, whoever taught me one word, I will forever, pray for them, or beg, so praise them. So education is very important, and we should consider it very important.
We're going to take our last commercial break, and we'll come back. We'll close and talk about the future of after-school programs and in the current administration. So we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
Welcome to the United States. Please proceed to the passport control.
ماذا يقول؟ إلى أين أذهب؟ ماذا علي أن أفعل؟ لو سمحت، هل تساعدني؟ ماذا قال هذا الرجل في الإعلان؟
ألا تعرف الإنجليزية؟
أعرف، ولكن أساسيات فقط.
عليك بتعلم اللغة.
ولكن أين؟ يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام، أساتذة متخصصون، منهج متميز، يمكنك التسجيل طوال العام. لرسوم التسجيل ومواعيد الفصول الدراسية عليك الاتصال بالهاتف رقم
586-797-6960 586-797-6960.
تحدث اللغة وتعلم نمط الحياة مع يوتيكا كوميونيتي سكول ESL بروجرام. تعلم، تحدث، وأكثر.
مراكز IVF للخصوبة وأطفال الأنابيب تستقبل مراجعيها في بلومفيلد هيلز ومراكزها المنتشرة في ميشيغان وأوهايو. فريق من أمهر الأخصائيين في مجال التلقيح الاصطناعي. يعتبر دكتور شما أخصائي الأمراض النسائية والتوليد من أمهر استشاريي الأمراض التناسلية والعقم بخبرة أكثر من 10,000 عملية طفل أنبوب. رعاية طبية ممتازة وتفهم عميق للأثر العاطفي والنفسي لتأثير العقم على الحالة النفسية. لمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا على 248-952-9600 248-952-9600. المصور حسن الأتات البارع في تسجيل لحظات خاصة بين العروسين يعلن استعداده لتصوير حفلات الزواج، الخطوبة، التناول، الحنة، وبأحدث الكاميرات وبتقنية عالية. اتصلوا باستديو 1 حسن الأتات لجميع مناسباتكم الخاصة والعامة. أسعار تناسب ميزانيتكم مع روعة ودقة في اختيار اللقطات الأجمل. مع استديو 1 اختياركم الأفضل لتسجيل أجمل لحظات العمر. للحجز والاستعلام كول 313-721-6100 313-721-6100. قشات ميديترينيان ماركت بإدارة فهر قشات وأولاده يرحبون بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. جميع أنواع المواد الغذائية، البان طازجة، الكرزات والبهارات الطازجة. داخل الأسواق مطعم ميديترينيان شيش كباب يقدم يوميا جميع أنواع الكباب، المقبلات العربية العراقية وصواني الكامبو المميزة. تفتح الأسواق من 8 إلى 9 مساء من الاثنين وحتى السبت، ومن 8 صباحا إلى 9 مساء يوم الأحد. تقع الأسواق على 32839 نورث ويسترن هايواي في مدينة فارمينغتون هيلز.
لحوم حلال للجالية الإسلامية. لطلباتكم من المطعم call 248-538-7855. that is 248-538-7855. قشة ميديترينيان ماركت، خدمة متميزة ومعاملة راقية.
And welcome back, Radio Belody listeners. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show. Today we talked about supplemental education after-school programs and their impact on our communities. We were just speaking about the cutting of funding and the continuous cutting and kind of deep cuts into education. And, it's a sad reality, Hussein, that people in other places in the world, especially the first world countries, are investing more in education and increasing the teacher's salary, while we're waging a war on teachers and the education organizations, and cutting their kind of funds and giving them very, very small leeway to make an impact. And it saddens me that we're not really still at the par with the other European and Asian countries that are really doing really well in education. And you see the U.S. students, how they're well doing against others in other nations. I mean, we're doing well in some areas, but still the entire population are not at that par level of excellence. So giving you 2 minutes to close, and hopefully you can give us more information about your center if parents or students would like to get the extra support and get more insight about your services, where they can find information.
Sure. Just going back to whatever you were saying about the cuts and everything, and I mean, our educational system as a whole needs to be revised, and we need to look at it more and see how we can improve things. Things like too much testing, long days of school, a lot of homework, and all those kinds of factors that plays a negative role in the lives of students and the teachers at the same time, because it's not, we have to understand, it's not just a stress on students, it's a stress on teachers too, who basically have to use their summer too sometimes to do the curriculum and to prepare for the next year. So while students are having a break, teachers still working. So our educational system as a whole, it needs to be revised, and we need to have some changes in it. And since you talked about Europe, Sweden, there is no testing, there is no homework.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And they're number
one.
Yeah.
Number one.
Right.
In the world, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for Finland. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
we're definitely not doing something right.
No, we're not doing something wrong. Right. I mean, and we need to work on it. Educare, like I said, that it's a privately owned institution and a center, so we do not receive any grants from the government. However, our prices are really affordable to parents. And parents from every walk of life, they are able to come to Educare and even receive the service. In terms of the programs we offer, we do have after-school programs that helps kids with their homework and prepare them for testing and everything. We have advancement programs for reading, comprehension, and math. We have ACT, SAT, and AP classes for whoever has taken any standardized test. And we do have coming up in July, we have our summer programs. And we did touch base about it in the beginning.
And for people to find out about your...
summer programs, we have a variety of programs for every kid. We are during the summer, we are open from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So parents can, be there for a full day, half day, or only 2 hours. So anyone who want to go to Educare, the website is educaremi.com, educaremi.com. They can find us on Facebook and all social media network, Educaremi1.
Okay. Thank you, Hussein, for being with us today. And I hope that you enjoy the show. And for people to find out a podcaster for this, they can look up US Arab Radio on either SoundCloud or Facebook. So thank you so much for being with us today, and have a good weekend, everyone.